Hello my friends, Sam here with another video. My last video was boring. I'm going to take it to the next level on this one. So I want to talk about a question that comes up all the time and I want to address it in depth. So this is going to be a long one. This is good for the physicists in the group and other people that are just curious about traction splints and their guts. So what is the mechanical advantage of the STS as well as the STS-C? If you are a physicist, you may look at this and say, oh, there's 3 chords and it's obviously a 3-to-1 mechanical advantage, so it's done, no problem. And this one, oh, it's obviously a 2-to-1, easy. But it's not that easy. So I'm going to take you down a trip, down a little bit of history and talk about other traction splints and their mechanical advantage. And then we will do some actual testing of these to see what's true. So bit of history, the Thomas splint, first one out there, and that uses a pulley type of mechanism. You have a cord that goes through a couple of passes, you pull, you get traction from that, but some people will take a tongue depressor and put it in there and turn, and then tape that in place, so that gives an additional level of mechanical advantage. The hair traction splint was an improvement on the Thomas in that it's a little bit more adjustable. The traction came from a dial at the end, and depending on the radius of the dial compared with the radius of the part that pulls in the webbing, you get mechanical advantage there too. So click, 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 and you can stretch out a leg. The Donway traction splint didn't make it into the US very much, but I got to meet that one in New Zealand 20-something years ago, and essentially has a bike pump that gives you mechanical advantage, and that stretches your leg. The Sager splint, so I made up an acronym here. If you ever heard of WYSIWYG, so this is WHIPPY-WIG. So what you pull is what you get. Essentially it's a 1-to-1. I'll talk a little bit more about Sager in a few minutes. Sager, pretty interesting evolutionary step in traction splints. The QAT you've probably never heard of, but it's online, quick action traction. So I think this was a university group that took a Sager splint and used a bar clamp type of technology. So as you squeeze, you get traction. And to figure out the mechanical advantage, there's a little bit like scissors. So if I hold close to the fulcrum, I don't have as much mechanical advantage, but if I'm a distance from it and I squeeze, then I get more. The KTD or KTT-like traction splints, there is some mechanical advantage, but I think a lot is lost in friction. On the distal end, you pull webbing, and I think it's sort of a 2-to-1 type of advantage. So you pull and the leg stretches out. The CT6 took that concept and then added a pulley system distal to the leg, and they would say they have a 4-to-1 mechanical advantage. And they certainly have a lot more mechanical advantage than the KTD splint. And then the CT7 is more recent, and that takes mechanical advantage to the next level. They use a screw type of mechanism, and if you look at their online demo, so you have to turn the screw roughly 32 times to move the splint 2 inches. So that dwarfs everything else. Actually, no, it probably doesn't dwarf the windlass. So if you have a windlass design, that's a lot of mechanical advantage too. I'll get to what's most important though at the very end. So now let's dig more into the STS and the STS-C. So why isn't this just simple pulley physics? And I'll start with talking about a tree. So if I have a tree here and there's a limb hanging out over the tree, and I put a pulley here and a weight here, and I try to pull down, if this weight is super heavy and this limb is very small, then when I pull down, this is a 2-to-1 mechanical advantage against that limb. But if the limb is super thick and this is a light weight and I can just pull, then I'm just redirecting the cord, and that's 1-to-1. Now what if both things happen? What if the limb bends down and the weight goes up? The mechanical advantage is somewhere in between those two. And that's what's happening here with the STS. So if I hold this point here, that's one mechanical advantage, one way of seeing it. If I hold this part fixed, the outer tube, that's different. And it applies here as well. So if I hold this inner tube fixed, That's one mechanical advantage. If I hold this part fixed, that's different. Now I'm going to take this to a different place, and I'm going to bring it back to Sager as well as the CT6 and KTD. Sager did something kind of interesting. So they added a tension dial years ago. And what I view Sager as is a wonderful experiment. And what they taught us is how much traction is actually needed to help somebody. And the answer is it's somewhere between 5 and 20 to 30 pounds. 30 is a real overestimate. They suggest 10 to 15% of the patient's body weight. So as an experiment, the Sager splint is wonderful. Clinically, the dial is irrelevant. I've never been in an ER and thought, let's make it a 10 or let's turn it up to 11. It just doesn't matter on a clinical level. But teaching us what is needed, thank you very much, Sager. The CT6, the Fairtech, they made the CT6 and they tested it compared with the KTD. And where is it? Oh, right here. I printed this out. This is from their website. So if you input 40 pounds, you're not going to see this on here, but I'll put a link on the video. If I put in 40 pounds of pull on a KTD, the output is less than 10 pounds of traction. So that's not even a 1-to-1. That's a big difference. So with the CT6, if I put in 40 pounds of traction, I still get less than 35 pounds. So they would say we offer a 4-to-1 mechanical advantage, but in fact it's less than 1-to-1 if you probably take into account friction. So what we're going to do in this video, the next steps of this video, we're going to test the STS as well as the STS-C, little experimental mechanism, and show what the, if I hang 5 pounds of weight, what is the output traction? And that's the next step. So hold for there. All right, again, back with our little homebrew experiment to talk about the mechanical advantage of the STS as well as the STS-C, the experimental as opposed to the theoretical mechanical advantage. And before I get into that, I am going to say, I'm going to introduce you to the very first Slishman Traction Splint. And you can see how the hair and the Sager influenced my thinking. Back in my residency, I thought, oh my gosh, it's going to take so much force to stretch a leg. I'm going to need a car jack to get that leg worked out. So I have an 8-to-1 mechanical advantage in here, or 8 strands anyway. And when I pull, there's no stopping this thing. But clinically, I don't need that. This thing weighs 5 pounds. It's solid steel. Absurd. So things have improved in the past 20-something years. And let's do some experimentation here. We are doing the experiment now. This is no longer in the realm of theoretical physics. This is experimental physics. And we're going to test the STS as well as the STS-C. First with the outer tube fixed, then the inner tube fixed, outer fixed, and inner fixed. And we're going to hang a bunch of weights. And let's see what the numbers actually are. So for starters, this is zeroed out at 0. And put this through here. And just hang it. And let's see what that first number turns out to be. 6.5. All right. .5. Hanging 10 pounds, and what does that come out to? 13.99. I'm going to round it to 14. 15 pounds here. 0, and what does that go to? Well, that is interesting. All right, so let's say 21.4, 21.5, okay. 20 pounds, so 28.3. 25 pounds, and did we zero it? 34 pounds, 34. Let's see what happens at 30 pounds. There we go, 0. I need a stronger assistant. And the output is 41. 41. Alright, who thinks something is going to fail here?
Take it off before you write.
Something's gonna go.
Take it off before you write on the 56. That's fine. Just take
56.5. All right, how are we gonna do 50 pounds? Who thinks we can do it? There's 50 pounds. This is definitely going to pop. What do we have here? 63, 62, 61. We're giving it a 61. Again, we're going to do the same experiment now with the inner tube held fixed, and the middle and outer tubes can be ejected upwards when I hang weight. And I'm predicting these numbers are going to be lower. We'll see. 0.44 pounds. So if I hang 10 pounds, 2.2 pounds. 15 pounds, what's going to happen with 15? Is that zeroed? With 15 pounds hanging, I get 4.3 pounds up. Now I'm hanging 20 pounds. 6.7 pounds up. 9. All right. 9.2. 30 pounds. 13.5. 19.7. Does everybody want to see me do the 50-pound test?
I think it's good enough.
I think we can do it. We got to do it. All right, so this is 50 pounds hanging. I'm about to lose an eye. All right, 50 pounds hanging there. The output is 25.4. That's pretty good. So that's it. That is it for the STS. Now we're going to move on to the STS-C and see what kind of numbers we get there. All right. Zeroing it out, I changed the experimental design a little bit so that the force comes right from the hole where the straps would be. That gives a little bit of a more of an accurate representation of what the splint experience is when traction is being pulled. Let's see what it does with 5 pounds. All right, so zero it out, I pull down 5 pounds. All right, so 5.5, 11, 15 pounds, gives 18. And this is a little bit what I would expect. I would certainly expect every one of these numbers to be lower than the STS numbers. The 20 pounds hanging straight down, call it 24. All right, 25, it's zeroed out. Where's it gonna go? Pretty good. 32. Just saying work smart, not hard. I do the opposite. 30 pounds force, the output is roughly 36. You know, you want to see 40, don't you? I can tell you want to see 40. All right, we're at 0. And this is 40 pounds coming down. What's going to happen? I think I'm going to get hurt. So 51, 50. It's not going to be pretty well. Maybe I should try the 50. You want to see 50, don't you? You want to see it. All right. All right. You talked me into it. You talked me. All right, everybody. Cross yourselves. 0. And now testing 50 pounds. Eesh. Eesh. See that there. So this comes up as 70, 72. Well, if anything is proven right now, it's not so much that number, but the cord can take it, and the plastic and the apparatus can hold 50 pounds. So let's make this a 70. Now we have one more column to do here. All right, so for the last column we have clamped the inner tube. This is the molded red plastic bit. And as you can see, if I pull down, the top gets forced upward. And well, let's just see what those numbers are. Back to 0. We'll start with 5 pounds. So 5 pounds headed down. Let's say at 0.7 pounds. 2.3. All right. 3.6. This is 20 pounds, so the output is 5.4. 25 pounds. 7.16. 30 pounds hanging, that gets forced up. That's 10. 40 pounds hanging, and all right, 15.3. All right, everyone wants to see 50, right? You want to see something break. All right, we're at 0. She's down. 50 pounds hanging. All right, so a few good things here. That's not breaking, the cord isn't breaking, and the numbers are consistently climbing, so that's good too. Let's just say 20. Hi again, so I took all that data, put it into this graph with these 4 lines corresponding with the 4 columns of data points. You can see where things went bad at that 50-pound test. This line should keep going straight, but the most important nugget from all of these experiments is that the STS and STS-C, their mechanical advantage probably lies somewhere in between these sets of lines because of this tree story here. So the limb is coming down as the weight is going up. With these splints, both aspects of the splints move, the distal and proximal. I think the inner tubes seem to move more, so probably the correct line is somewhere close to 1-to-1 here, but neither here nor there. Here is the next nugget. None of this matters. So the KTD, this will be surprising for me to say, the KTD works. All it has is webbing on the bottom. You pull, and the patient says, you have to pull harder, but fair enough. There are far more important aspects of traction splints to be looking at. How well are they padded? How easy are they to adjust? Do they stick out past the foot? Mechanical advantage is what I call a false feature. I don't care if your traction splint offers 1,000-to-1 mechanical advantage. The first splint that I made was this 5-pound behemoth, and it had a theoretical 8-to-1 mechanical advantage, and it's just excessive. So over time and experimentation, things have improved quite a bit, and now we're down to just this. Carbon fiber, another false feature. I don't care if your product is carbon fiber because it's just a small fraction of the weight of the product, and the forces are very low. So I don't need a special material to give axial resistance to less than 30 pounds of force. A dial, I don't need a dial either. I live by treat the patient, not the numbers. And if a patient says, my leg is really hurting a lot, and then I pull and it hurts less, that's the target. As long as their toes are still perfused, then we're happy. If they need adjustment and readjustment, I want my traction splint to be easily adjusted and readjusted. And I can actually teach patients to do that with the STS and the STS-C. So, this product has evolved quite a bit through the years, and I will admit a fair bit of bias here, but hopefully you like it. Hopefully you like this video. Maybe give us a like. If you have other experiments you'd like me to try, shoot me a note. I will end this video with some outtakes with my kids because I try to do the whole thing with them, and it was a combination of fun and brutal. So, well, hopefully you'll enjoy that too. Have a good day. Yeah, I promise you this is going to be interesting and fun. All right?
I'm more into fun.
That's a good start. Okay. Hello my friends, Sam here with my boys Zach and Max, and we're here to talk to you about mechanical advantage in relation to traction splint. Literally. Did you have something to say?
Literally is the only point you can say.
Okay. What do you have to say?
The hair traction splint is not for hair.
Not for your hair, that's right.
When I heard about it, I thought it was for hair, but it's not.
No, it's spelled like the rabbit instead of the stuff that grows out of your head.
Pretty much probably going to pull it and you're going to get super tall and then like smack back.
It just got darker in here, unfortunately. But we're just gonna motor on, okay?
Oh, the battery on the light.
I think you're right. Yes, Zach.
So the battery's right now because we have been doing the video for too long.
With you guys. So let's talk about
The fun part.
the fun part. And don't drop it on your foot, okay? So it's zeroed out.
I think it would be more.
It's zeroed out, and now I'm hanging it. And the number
Look, 50.
14.
Literally that.
So 10 pounds hanging, 15 pounds. So that means it's
So
10
that one was
plus 5 is 15. Now what's the number going to be? Take a guess.
more.
More.
Watch out for your feet, please. Please
For
watch
your
out.
eyes too. Okay.
I will.
36 pounds.
No, 36.90.
37. 37.
It's
Sad
still
time.
going, still going, still going. It's overloading.
30. Watch out, Zach.
We're doing a 35 then.
I'm up here.
Alright, you just take that bit out. Take that out.
I'm not sure about the 35, Soundy.
Right now we're doing 40. We just did 30. And we're about to do 40.
No, we just did 30. Now we're doing 35.
I'm going straight to 40.
Okay.
Alright, let's put that thing through. Put it through.
Then after 40, can we do
You
35?
gonna help? Here.
And now watch out for your feet, guys.
0 each time. Watch out.
We'll be
Watch out.
upstairs.
Watch out. Really gonna. This is no good. We got ourselves a bad experimental design now.
Guys, hold it.
I'm down.
56. First about this one.
Cover your ears.
All right.
Cover your ears. Okay? For safe.
I'm gonna look right here.
No, Zach, go totally up and look down, like from the edge. Ow!
Alright, that's the end of that experiment, guys. Alright.
Woo!
I'm gonna click enough because I've had enough.
I
Here,
can't
Zach,
get
go
any
try it.
more than that. I'm so
Zach, go
scared.
try it.
I can get something up to 60, but I'm so scared.
Whoa, Zach, you're gonna kill yourself. Hold on.
You are going to kill yourself.
Holy smokes. Alright, here.
That's higher than me.
Do we pause here?
That's a mechanical failure of our system, not of the splint.